Welcome to the Introvert Sisters, the podcast by introverts for introverts, hosted by Sharon and Lisa, two INFJs with a lot to say.
Hi, I'm Sharon.
And I'm Lisa.
And together,
we're the Introvert Sisters.
Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome, guys. So, sis, we are here. Still doing it with the podcast. It's still going strong. Thanks to everybody who has been supporting and listening in. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
We really do.
Yeah. So, I feel like if we haven't spoken in a while, what's been going on with you? What's happening? How is Barbados looking like now? What is it Barbados looking like now?
It's looking a little more open. Two big things happened. One is they let people go back to the beach, which was huge. And in fact, now we have a morning and evening beach session allowed. Mm-hmm. And even bigger, and this will only mean something to my Bajan peeps, Chefette is open for curbside pickup. Now, for my American friends, you have to understand, this is like if your favorite fast food chain, whatever it is, whether it's Taco Bell, whether it's Mickey D's, whatever it is, had been closed for 6
Chick-fil-A.
weeks. Right, and had suddenly decided it was reopened for curbside.
That's
memes
huge.
were hot, people were rejoicing.
There was rejoicing in the streets?
There was rejoicing in the land, girl.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had my first Chefette in about 2.5 months, a couple of days back. And I have to tell you, it tasted good.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I could do with an all potato roti right about now.
Whew, yes, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
So what about you? What's going on in your world at the moment?
Nothing much. Same old. It feels like if the inmates are in charge of the asylum a little bit over here.
Well, yeah.
But
they kind of are.
One inmate.
Yes.
Yes. The orange hued inmate is in charge, and just tweeting away, making silly decisions, and obsessed with Obama as per usual.
Yes.
But it feels weird because, like, I know, it's getting to that point where people are starting to think about summer and, is summer canceled? Is it not? Are beaches going to open? And there have been actually a lot of protests over here. By people who have never had to protest about anything, and so this is their big protest. I need to go and get a haircut, and you are, violating my rights by not allowing me to go and get a haircut. You're violating my rights by not allowing me to go into, the supermarket without a mask. And it's like, they're actually trying to help you live.
Yeah.
So,
there are always those people.
There are always those people.
Always
so, the mood over here is weird,
Yeah.
Me personally, nothing much has changed. I'm still looking for a job. For a job.
Girl.
It is what it is. Me and millions of others, right?
You and millions of others. I myself are, chasing a few opportunities because, things are a little brown. But,
they're
keeping on,
slow
try
down.
to stay positive.
Yeah. I mean, have any of your clients said, okay, well, we'll catch you on the flip side, or have they just has it been
They've said, oh my gosh, your proposal looked great, but we don't even know what's happening with our business. So,
right.
We'll be back when we can be back, kind of thing. It's not like it's done forever. It's just that we have no resume date in sight. I'm actually just about to check in with one of my clients who said, well, everything's on hold for at least 2 months. So that was 2 months ago. So
it's still on hold.
I know it's still on hold because
but you have to send the email.
They're in the travel business, so I know that it's still on hold. You know. But there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I still have these I'm sure everybody does. I have these existential moments from time to time where I wonder, okay, what is life ever going to be like again? Because it seems almost impossible to get back to quote unquote normal. I don't know if you can actually get back to normal. And in some cases, I think you wrote something about this actually. I
Oh,
don't know if normal is something that you want to get back to
no,
completely.
because you're right. I did write something. I think it was called "Let's Not Pretend Normal Was Working for Everyone," and we'll
Right.
drop a link to that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it wasn't, and that's one thing that we're definitely learning is
Mhm.
that there are a lot of inequities that have become more apparent now that you're having to find workarounds for things.
Yeah.
And we don't need to go into a lot of detail on that, but it is something worth thinking about for sure.
Black people are dying. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, among other things.
Black people are dying at a greater rate than everybody else, but other than that, we're not going to say anything. We'll keep the podcast nice and light for today.
Yes. People who don't have access to tablets and laptops are going to be left out of education. But yeah, apart from that, we're keeping it light.
Apart from that, there you go.
Okay, so let's move on.
Speaking of keeping things light, so part of my self-care during this entire experience has been actually listening to music online. And when I say listening to music online, I'm not just talking YouTube, talking DJ Nice, his at D Nice, who actually, he's just blowing up all over the place,
Okay.
Celebrities, Michelle Obama and people of that ilk attend his club quarantine sessions on Instagram Live. And then there's this other thing called Verzuz TV. First of all, props to them because they spelled Verzuz Verzuz, so I love that because it's cute. Branding. Probably because they could not actually trademark the regular spelling of the name. But Either way, I love the name. But what it is they set up quote unquote battles between musical luminaries, shall we say?
Yeah.
mostly from the R&B or from the R&B genre. Not only that though, they've done some pop ones and so on as well.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest one so far that they did was Erykah Badu versus Jill Scott.
Ooh. Well, I know
and
that
girl,
would be right up your street because those are two of your girls.
Those are two of my girls. And you see me here, my head rap and thing,
yes.
and
I see.
Like this is how people were like posting stuff on Instagram, like, okay, I'm wearing my head wrap, I have my sage, I have my, my other incense, I have my altar set up, I'm ready for this Verzuz.
Okay.
And it was amazing. It did not disappoint at all.
Wow.
It was just, yeah.
Okay.
What I loved most about it was, let's say, I remember when it actually started, I think Erykah played the first song, and it was a song that she had sung just the hook to.
Yeah.
And the beauty of that was that Jill had actually written the hook to it.
Oh,
Jill Scott.
Wow.
And so what I liked about it is that, it was this moment of starting from a perspective of collaboration. So they did not go into the competition or the battle energy at all. They were all like, Erykah was like, oh, remember when we did this together? And then Jill played her version of that same song. I think what happened was there was a live performance. Of course, this is probably decades ago at this point.
Okay.
It was a live performance that Erykah could not. And so, Jill sang it, in her stead. And
yes.
so that was the live version of it that she played. And so that sort of set the tone and the energy for a spirit of mutual fandom, mutual celebration, of sisterhood.
And don't we love sisterhood? Of course we love sisterhood.
We do. Sisterhood is our thing. Right?
Yeah.
So it was just like, it was so good. So good.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah. And then I think another huge moment was towards the end of it, where Erykah was about to play one of her huge hits, on and on and on and on. Anyway,
Yeah.
Don't listen to my singing. Sorry, my apologies. I probably ruined it for people, but you know the song I'm talking about. Anyway, so Erykah was about to play that. Her iPad died.
Oh,
and then,
no.
Yes, so she's just, of course, it's IG Live, so she's just in her house. She's like, okay, let me go get a charger, get this organized. She just left, but she was a bit disappointed. And what Jill did was Jill played it for her.
Right on, sister.
Right? Sisterhood.
I love it. I love
sisterhood.
it.
Right? So
Yes.
It was just like an energy, a celebration. It was so nice and mellow. I felt like my whole aura had been healed. It felt like the world got a little dose of some Black woman magic and some healing in those. I think it ended up being 3 hours. Now, it was supposed to be an hour, right? And I think the Versus team sort of knew, okay, especially with Erykah involved. Erykah is of another world.
Yes. Right. So
and she even said so at one point.
Just run with it, right?
They just ran with it. They just ran with it, and it was 3 hours of wonderful, wonderful healing.
Well, Vogue wrote about this, and they talked about the joy of Blackness being evident in that whole Versus battle. And of course, they're both very mellow artists. They're very, their music is very soothing. So, even though you use the term battle, it's really the antithesis of a battle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a celebration. It was a celebration. And I think the Versus team has started moving towards calling them celebrations, because usually what happens in the battles is the artists are actually fans of each other.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so they spend a lot of time saying, oh my gosh, I wish I had written this. And I remember when you dropped that. That was amazing. And it went straight to the top of the charts. And they know each other's catalogs.
Yes.
And our mutual fans. So that's the beauty of it. And then, okay, from the marketing perspective.
Oh, yes.
This girl, well, you know the numbers. You're the numbers chick.
Listen. Yes. Okay. So apparently this was the most successful Versus battle to date. 1 billion impressions, 700,000 views, 300% growth in streams. So, they're coming on and they're doing this thing to keep people entertained during these times, but it's really paying off for them as well. They're getting streaming traffic, they're getting income. And, it's nice to see that, you can do something in a spirit of giving and, you get a reward too.
Absolutely. And, the Versus team, it's run by Swiss Beats and Timbaland, two mega producers. Anybody who's into music, would know, into Black music, would know them. And even into pop. I mean, they work with artists from all genres. Okay. But they actually started it themselves a few months ago, I guess, at this point. And they, of course, did the first one. And it was just like, let's pass the time, let's do a celebration. Then they sort of expanded out. But, they're not getting, this 300% growth in streams or whatever. They're not getting that. That's for the artist.
But that is wonderful.
There's no percentage that they're getting. This is really
a service
coming from a space of giving and service for them.
Which is wonderful.
And it's wonderful. And I remember hearing Swiss Beats saying on one of his, I think it was a live he did post one of the battles, right? And he said, look, our artists can't do, let's say, what the Rolling Stones are doing. The Rolling Stones can still go just have a tour with them, right? Sell out stadiums and keep pulling in that coin, no problem. Our artists frequently can't do that in most cases. You might have a tour with like 5-6 artists.
Yes.
But, there are
not many of them will stand alone.
Not many of them can stand alone.
And let's face it, some of those who could have stood alone are no longer able to tour for one reason or another. And so this is also, his Swiss Beats feeling is like, look, our artists should not have to be struggling when they get to a certain point of life. Yes, because these are well-respected artists. These are people that have a respectable back catalogue. They're well thought of in their genre. They have some standout tunes. And so it should not be a struggle for them. So I really celebrate this effort that combines entertainment with also getting more of a platform for artists that should have a bigger platform, for quite frankly.
Yeah,
they really ought to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And so they're doing, Swiss Beats and Timbaland are doing great work. The artists are enjoying being able to celebrate each other and being able to be celebrated, being exposed to a wider audience. It's just good for all.
Now,
and
I have a question for you though, because of course I didn't see this battle live myself, but I know you did, and I have heard that the comment sections for the versus battles are hilarious.
Well, I will say, okay, Erykah's song called Tyrone?
Yeah, yes.
You better call Tyrone.
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, when her iPad died, right? All the comments are about, see?
You better call
Tyrone Vex. Tyrone here created trouble as per usual,
Oh my God.
So, that kind of thing. The comments are always amazing. Always amazing.
They are. And I took a quick peek through some of them. And it does reinforce that idea that this was one of the best battles. The people who were there and who attended live seemed to really, really rate it. I think also, for those of us that aren't sort of paying constant attention to these things, it does give you a chance to catch up on tracks that you might have missed.
Exactly.
Things that you might not have been aware of, things that you forgot about, that you heard once 10, 15 years ago and you forgot existed. So I would like to think that it's going to lead to some long-term growth for these artists.
Oh, absolutely. And so, speaking of touring, I know some of them have, decided. Obviously, there've been other versus battles since this one, and I know, I think Nelly and Ludacris were another one.
Yes.
And right, and they, in the middle of their battle, they were like, oh, maybe we should just, do a tour because people are calling for it. People are calling for it. There is a demand for this music. They always try to tell us.
Yes, they do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
I know. There's not a market.
We can't sell out.
Too black.
We can't sell out a stadium. People are not going to come and see. People are not going to come and see us, but they will.
Yes. Well, a billion impressions later.
Yeah.
It is.
I think that it has been proved beyond doubt that there are those artists who will sell out, and sometimes we don't even we might even underestimate some of our own. But when you put in this head-to-head situation, and the talent is on show, right? You say, okay, if I were those versus people, I would be thinking about either replicating this on stage in a tour at some stage, or
I'm sure
let the battle winners tour together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, their ideas. This is like a marketing gold mine, and you and I are both into marketing. So apart from the whole music angle, it really is genius, isn't it?
It's marketing 101. It's beautiful to see.
Yes.
And of course, that was another thing is, speaking again from the perspective of an introvert, why I liked this versus more than some of the others. And when I say liked more, it's not that I don't like the others. The others are amazing too. But this one sort of spoke to my spirit as an introvert because it was quiet, it was low key, it was soothing, it was harmonious. I loved that part of it. I cannot wait for the others. I know they have some heat lined up. I know they have some major heat lined up, and I am.
You're paying attention. You're paying attention.
I am paying attention because, like you said, they're not always just playing their number one or top 10 hits. They're playing deep cuts, from their albums.
They're playing the things they like too.
Yeah.
And what they like might not be the thing that the record company told them to release.
Exactly.
Right.
Often it's not.
Right.
And also getting a view into the mind of the artist.
Yes. Yes.
A view into the mind of the artist, a view into the backstory. I mean, I wish I should actually have found it and included it here, and maybe I'll drop it in the show notes. But I remember Jill having, some advice for writers.
Oh, wow.
Some advice for writers, and about not doubting yourself and staying the course, and so I think I'll include that here, at the end of the show, include it in the show notes.
Okay,
but
yeah, that's
just
great.
So inspiring on so many levels.
And let's face it, we could all use a little inspiration.
Oh my gosh.
We can always use inspiration, but these days
Yeah.
you can use inspiration even more than you could before. So no,
for sure.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea. It really is. And I know we talked a couple of weeks ago about the Babyface versus Teddy Riley versus. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else they come up with. And I know you'll be staying on top of that, sis.
I will. I will keep you posted. Because what I realized, because I'm actually very into music, but somehow had not been listening, that much. So between the nice, I don't know, it's like life.
Yeah.
Just life. It's weird because this whole bizarre pandemic situation, it has, of course, had negatives and serious negatives for many people. But, some of the positives have been just sort of getting back to basics. You're at home.
Yes.
And after a while, there's only so many Zoom calls you can do in a day, or, whatever it happens to be.
Yes,
and
exactly.
So you get back into, wow, what do I love? I've seen people, doing, coloring books, let's say, for example, people our age, right?
Yes.
They're, doing coloring books, exploring their artistic side, listening to more music, as I have been doing. And
people have been
remember,
getting very creative. People have been getting very creative. It's true, which is a wonderful thing.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Yes, yes.
And so just keeping yourself entertained and not allowing yourself to possibly drown all of the bizarreness that's going on, because that could be overwhelming,
Absolutely. It could be.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so that's how I have been entertaining myself. So what about you? What have you been up to?
Well, one of the things that I watched recently was our girl Michelle Obama's Becoming documentary. Right?
We love you, Michelle.
We love you, Michelle. And I was just so uplifted and inspired by it, right? I was inspired by the fact that she was living a public life while still remaining herself, right? Although she
which is hard.
Yeah, which is hard. She did refer to the fact that she was a version of herself, because there were certain things that she could just not put out there, because, when you're the first of anything, when the spotlight is on you, when you're basically flying the flag for all of Blackdom, and, not just in the US, people around the world, right? Then there are certain things that you have to police yourself with, right? And she acknowledged that, but she still, remained herself. She came across as someone who knows herself, knows her flaws, and has got very comfortable with herself. And there was a lot to like about it. I think where she came across as most herself was, some of the book signings where she was just connecting with people on a very real human to human way, right? She did not come across as someone who had her head turned by prominence. She acknowledged the role
still
of
down to earth,
but she remained down to earth. I like the fact that she was focusing on connecting with young people. I liked the glimpse we saw of her as a mother relating to her daughters. I mean, so much to like. And I know you watched it too, sis. What stood out for you?
I did. So much to like. Now, I mean, let's be clear here, without giving too much away. I mean, certainly everybody should have watched it by now. But just in case, you haven't, we'll try not to give away too many spoilers. But I found that it was very sort of high level, It was, the drone was definitely shooting it. It was not this camera. It was that camera.
It was.
But that's okay because she had these cameras, these close-up cameras on her for years, and she's done with that, right?
Yes.
And so to your point, she shared some, but there was definitely the sense of it was being sort of shot through her specs. You know, there was a barrier up, which was fine. Fine.
That's okay.
So, you know, and as an introvert, I definitely got a sense that she was being guarded, but who doesn't get that? Partly because of what she's been through, and then in general.
Yes. I think that is a very introvert characteristic anyway, to be a little bit reserved.
Yes.
She has more reason than most to be reserved.
Exactly.
You know, I related to that. I related to the fact that it wasn't all out there. But you know, if you, as an introvert reading between the lines, you could read a lot into what she was not saying too, right?
True.
Okay.
And speaking of other introvert things, you know, it is clear that she keeps her circle very small.
Oh, yes.
Very, very small. You know, she is hashtag no new friends. Right? So I related to that. You know, it was her, obviously, you know, Barack, the kids.
And a few people she'd known for 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
You know, and that says a lot
it.
too. You know, it's not hangers-on and sycophants. It's people that have been around from time.
Loyalty.
Yeah, exactly.
And trust. Trust. Mutual trust.
Very important.
Of course, you know, again, we're in general going to keep this podcast light, but I was very happy that she is a Black woman with a white chauffeur.
It's not driving Miss Daisy.
No. She flipped that all the way around. So I like that. And speaking of that kind of thing, there was a moment when she mentioned when they first moved into the White House, where she had all the butlers stop wearing formal dress, right? Because she said, I am not going to have my children grow up thinking that it is normal to have Black men in formal suits serving them. Every moment of every day. So
I love that.
There's going to be none of that. I loved that. I love that she said, no, you guys have to make your beds up.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So,
yes. I love the way that she balanced, you know, the needs of the office with the needs of, you know, keeping it real for the children.
For the children, you know, because she has to be a parent. Yeah.
Yes. And with, you know, supporting her Black brothers and sisters too. You know, and you know, for our non-people of color listeners, you know, this is important, okay, because these are the kinds of things that have been ignored for centuries. These are the kinds of things that you've had to try and claw your way into for centuries. These are the kind of little and big wounds that you've had to live with for centuries. So, you know, for us, even those little things are important. Even, you know, the question of what is my butler wearing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because there's a whole cultural perspective that goes along with those particular sets of garments, right? So not making that the norm is huge.
Yes.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Yep, we're gonna keep it light.
Ish. Light-ish.
Light-ish. And actually, speaking of clawing your way into spaces where ordinarily you're not welcomed, one of the stories that she shared was that her guidance counselor, I guess in high school or whatever, told her that, you know, honey, I don't think you should, you know, aim for Princeton. It's probably too high for you.
Yeah.
You know, you should basically shrink your dreams because you are not worthy. And, you know, Michelle said that she's still salty about that. You know, and who wouldn't be? Because that's soul crushing to have somebody tell you basically that you're not good enough. You're not enough. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. You're unworthy.
I related to that viscerally.
I know you did.
Because my high school English teacher told me I would never be a writer. I name no names. Those of you who went to high school with me know who that is. I'm not calling anybody out. Still salty about that.
We have to have a little chat after this. Because I think I know who.
Okay,
who.
we will talk about it off camera.
Yes. And you were wrong for telling my sister that. No, but okay.
He was wrong. Still salty.
Wrong.
I'm
Still
with Michelle
salty.
on this one.
Right? But the point is, she went to Princeton.
She did.
And the message, she did. And the message there is sometimes people give you advice, and, you know, I'm a fan of, okay, you know, you take it in, keep what you need, discard what you don't need.
Exactly.
But you always have to look at people's agendas. Like, why is this person advising me in this way about this subject, right? And so, go ahead.
Don't let other people define what is right for you.
For you.
Okay. And you know, for introverts who tend to be quiet and don't necessarily make a big splash, it can be very tempting for other people to read certain things into that behavior. We've talked about that before, and no doubt we'll talk about it again. But that does not mean that you are not competent, that you are not capable, that you're not able to do whatever it is you set your mind to do. Okay?
I remember you shared a story of, I think it was a course that you were doing, and whoever was leading the course thought that you were like lights on, nobody home, because you weren't talking. Yes. And then you basically scored the highest on the when there was a test. All the people who were yang.
Classic introvert thing. Classic introvert.
But you know, he didn't think you were capable.
I know.
You know.
I know.
But you didn't make a fuss. You're like, okay, fine. You know, you quietly said, okay, I'll show you, and so you did.
I let my work talk for me.
Let your work speak for you, and sometimes it's what you have to do. You know.
Exactly.
So,
and of course, the other great thing, and I know you rated this too, is the relationship between Michelle and Barack.
I know.
Relationship goals. # relationship goals.
Relationship goals are so cute. I can't understand
my gosh,
it.
They're still so cute. You know,
they're still so cute.
You know, the birthday messages, the Mother's Day messages, it's just so wonderful. It really is empowering. You know?
It is, and there is a sort of a school of thought, you know, that, you know, about Black men, that, you know, they're not good partners, not good parents, etc., etc. Now, the thing is that Black men are not a monolith.
No.
There are some who ain't about nothing.
Yes.
Right?
There are those.
But there are some. There are also a whole lot who are like Barack, who are present, who are ambitious, who are in their children's lives, who are good, faithful, loyal, loving partners to their you know, wives or life partners, you know. And I feel like they are often not seen and not celebrated. So having this couple in the highest possible office
was wonderful.
And it was just an example to show people, look, this is normal.
Yes.
This is normal.
Continues to inspire, in fact. It really does. It really does. Yeah. You know. Yes.
So that's how I've been keeping, you know, how we both been keeping ourselves entertained, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else is out there in Netflix land.
Yeah. I want to say one more thing, which I think is a point you raised actually, is that she's quiet, but she loves people, and the two are not mutually exclusive.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, right. Because often as introverts, especially, you know, I have really bad RBF, you know, so if I'm not sort of animated, I look like I'm trying to cut somebody, right? You know, or I'm upset in some way, or I'm sad. Yeah. And so, you know, but you know, that is not necessarily the case. Now it might be, but no, I'm just kidding. No, it's not necessarily the case. And so sometimes you're just quiet because you're quiet. But she obviously is not a bombastic type, but she loves people. I realized when she was all the footage of her doing the book signings. Yes. She connected with each person, genuinely connected with them, asked them questions about themselves. If the person was nervous, and she was interested in their story. If the person was nervous, she did her best to try to calm them down. She was really, really good with people, you know, quiet, but good with people.
which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. So yeah, so that, you know, those have been some very interesting things that we've been looking at. And, you know, there are a few lessons to, a few things that we liked overall about these two, you know, the Versus Battle and the Becoming documentary. One, obviously, is that this kind of entertainment is a distraction from the uncertainty and instability that's all around us. You know, don't underestimate the value of the feel-good factor to your mental health. It's more important than ever to look after that, you know. I don't know if you want to add anything there, sis?
Just in general, seeing women especially celebrate, first of all, celebrating themselves and celebrating each other I think it's like a reminder, you know, to do the same, you know, keep that same energy. Is a phrase nowadays that's often used in a slightly different context.
Yeah.
But we need to keep more of this kind of energy, more of the energy of collaboration and less of competition.
Yes.
More of the energy of, okay, let's come together, let's support each other, let's celebrate each other.
Yes.
Let's celebrate each other, and let us not give in to this energy of intimidation.
No.
It is okay for other people. None of us are ever going to be Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is Michelle Obama, right?
Yes.
But there's no point in, you know, being jealous, in sort of being a low-key hater. There's no point in that. Look at what she has attained, be inspired by what you can, and just celebrate the rest.
Yes.
Like, yes, she did it.
Let's
she did it for all of us.
Inspiration and celebration. Inspiration and celebration.
Yes, and bring that energy to yourself, to your own circle. You know, I see it distresses me a lot, as you know, because I see so much of it, of just the, you know, the infighting, the cat fighting, the what a friend of ours calls, you know, the attempts to diminish between women. And so this whole thing that we've been discussing is just a reminder that it doesn't have to be that way.
No,
it does not have to be that way. There's a more positive road.
You can empower.
Yeah.
You can empower, you can be inspired, you can celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good note for us to wrap up this episode of the Introvert Sisters. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye. See you next time.
You've been listening to the Introvert Sisters. Loved what you heard? You can catch all our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and all other major platforms. Subscribe, rate, and write a review. Find us online at theintrovertsisters.com and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Introvert Sisters. See you next time. Peace.